That time has once again come, the time for a New Year's update. And what a year 2024 has been. Firstly, my old car died, so I had to get a new one. The only good thing that came out of that was I got the car I was planning on getting next earlier than expected. And then, just a month or so later, this happened. That's right. Western North Carolina endured the worst flooding since 1916. Well, possibly the worst it has ever seen. Now, having worked on or near a river for years, I have seen a few floods, but I have never seen the kind of devastation our rivers unleashed on us this year. It was almost as if they turned on us. And in some areas, even the winds were harsh, with reported winds near Asheville clocking in at around 100 miles per hour. If you could somehow get past a flooding river, chances are you would not get past the thousands of downed trees. With that said, we are slowly bouncing back. However, some people and businesses have left and likely will never return. Even today, right around Christmas, for a storm that happened in late September, the devastation can still be seen. Biltmore Village, for example, is in ruins. There is hope to get it back up and running before the start of the tourist season. In fact, I will have an entire video on that region along the Swannanoa River. All of this, for me, has sparked a renewed interest in river conservation, which I will get into shortly. Firstly, though, I did a bit of a switcheroo this time around. Instead of posting the update on the first weekend of the new year, I decided to do it the weekend after Christmas. The first and second weekends into the new year, 2025 that is, will be the final hurricane episode, and it will focus on one area. It's long, and it will be in 2 parts. After that, I have a few videos I will be uploading, including possibly a couple of older redone videos. This channel will start to get back to a bit of normalcy, well, sort of. You see, there still will be a focus on uncovering the mysteries of towns and historic sites. However, there will also be an emphasis on river conservation. That does include the possibility of doing river tours, where I document a river from its source right up to its mouth. Now, for me, this passion for river conservation is not new. It is something that has already interested me. I have just let it slide as I began to drift more into the world of historic preservation. But now, with what I saw our rivers recently do, I felt as if I should have never let it slide. I was into river conservation way back in the early 1990s. I have always been fascinated by water as a kid and had a fondness for flowing water as I grew older. I used to sit along a few hometown brooks in New Jersey when stressed out or when just exploring areas, and over time I had always thought the right thing to do was to treat them with respect, that is, to not pollute nor ruin them. At one time I just thought it was criminal to pollute any body of water like it is to steal or vandalize. Little then did I know that some apparently think it's their God-given right to do so. That kind of attitude never stuck well with me, which is what led me into the world of river conservation in the first place. I know a lot about it, as I have been an off-and-on member of a few different river organizations for many years. New Jersey, where I originally came from, river sports were very limited. It was on vacations that I spent with my family that I wanted to get on a river. Years later, it led me into working for years for a rafting company. And it has also led me to this region here in Western North Carolina. it is the rivers and mountains of the area that I find to be the most attractive, and it is where I was able to spend a lot of time on a number of rivers. Then, after my father died, I started to explore different areas and became fascinated with historic structures. Well, that interest actually starts even before that. Well, sort of. You see, when I was on vacation with my family back in the 1990s and 2000s, I often was fascinated by unknown towns along the way. Most vacations of mine were spent out west, like in Nevada and California, where road signs denoting this or that town would pop up. And I wanted to find out what kind of stuff goes on in such an off-the-beaten-path kind of town. And in the desert, there's tons of them. In fact, there are tons of them in many places. Take here, for example. Many people know of Bryson City, Asheville, Waynesville, Spruce Pine, Marshall, and all those other main towns in the area, but how many people have heard of Judson, Three Forks, Bryson Place, Acton, Bat Cave, or there is actually a town, or more likely a suburb of, Hendersonville called No, I am not making this stuff up. There does exist such a place. I know, strange, which is why I kind of want to find out how it started. Who cannot want to know why in the world a region would ever become to be called Overall, though, this channel officially started out as an urban exploration channel with an interest in exploring historic buildings. Then, over time, it became more devoted to exploring towns and communities, and it will still have that aura, though learning about a given river can be just as inviting. I would love to get out west and do a thorough documentary on the Colorado River. Will that ever happen? I don't know. What I do know, however, is that things are going to be a bit different nowadays. Firstly, it should be known that I am working closely with local river organizations in this area. There is the possibility of a couple of projects I might be involved in soon. I don't know yet, but I will know by the end of January, supposedly. If either or both of those do become a reality, some plans might end up changing. It just depends on the work I will need to do. Furthermore, I am working on trying to get a local river in this area designated as wild and scenic. There is the possibility that I might be attending an event in Washington, D.C., I believe, in support of the Wild and Scenic Rivers Coalition. If that happens, I think it is in March, it will be my first trip of the year. I am not sure yet, as the last meeting was canceled for some reason. I won't know more until I speak to the Transylvania County Natural Resources Council and see what they think. So that one is far from set in stone at this time, but the event I hope to be attending in April is kind of set in stone, as it does depend on what work might be needed if those two projects discussed earlier do become a reality. My plans are to attend a river symposium far away in Oregon. That's right, Oregon. All the way on the other side of the country. And yes, I will be driving it. But it will be held on the Klamath River, a river that I would love to document. Then, in May, on my way back, possibly, I will be attending a large concert at the end of that month. I will not be showing that on this channel, though it likely will get a mention or two on my Facebook page. Yes, I now have a working Facebook page, which I use mainly to provide educational resources and, on occasion, interesting events going on in my life. It is devoted heavily to river conservation right now, but It can really feature just about anything. And then, after summer comes to a close, I will be attending the Past Forward National Preservation Conference in September, hopefully. It is in Milwaukee, so not nearly as far, and I am in the process, as we speak, of nominating Riverlink for an award, which I had already talked to them about, as they have done so much in trying to establish the River Arts District, a nationally recognized historic district in Asheville that was just about destroyed during Helene. I was also planning on nominating the River Arts District itself, though its devastation and date of establishment do not fit well into any of the categories, so I kind of put that one aside. But with all of that said, that is basically my plans for 2025. During all those travels, keep in mind, I will have opportunities to document towns, sites, and even rivers. But keep in mind, though, some rivers are very long and have reaches that are almost inaccessible. In some cases, maps will be used to show points of interest of those kinds. So, I do not have any clue as to what and where I will be documenting as the year progresses. Likely, I will be spending 2 to 3 months out of this area for each event, which will allow me a lot of time to research and document this or that. I do still plan on re-uploading some of my older videos that I was doing pre-Helene. If I have nothing for a given week, that will have to be the option, because that is very possible. With all of that said, I think it is now time to let 2025 begin. Oh man, I think I'm getting too damn old. By the way, if you were wondering where any of the footage used in this video came from, well, most of the footage in this video was shot in Cherokee, North Carolina, at what is called the Oconaluftee Islands Park. Right there is the Oconaluftee River, with most of it flowing through the Cherokee Indian Reservation. Well, technically it's not a true reservation, but the river is still so beautiful.